In 235, they're asking us what number is not part of the domain. Now let's remember, domain, right? Domain are the x values, and the range are the y values. And the reason why we sometimes limit the domain is to make sure certain things don't happen with the function. Now the function in this case is 3 over x plus 5. And one thing we need to make sure of when we have fractions that have variables in the denominator is to make sure that that denominator, this denominator down here, does not become 0, because a 0 in the denominator in mathematics is undefined, right? So we have to make sure that x plus 5 is never going to equal 0, right? So we can just guess and check to see what value of x could I put in there to make that denominator 0. I could see -5. But we could also solve this equation. It's really an inequality, but we could solve it just like we solve an equation. So we could subtract -5 or 5 from both sides, and we would get x cannot equal 0 minus 5 is -5. And this is the value for x that has to be excluded from the domain, right? So they say what number is not part of the domain of f of x, and the number would be 5. I prefer you write it as x cannot be 5, but they're probably just going to say 5, right? And then it says, how can you tell? You can tell that 5 is excluded because, right, because if x equals 5, the denominator would be 0, and 0 in the denominator is undefined in mathematics.